This video is going to cover how to create a works cited entry. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to go to style.mla.org. Again, that's style, S-T-Y-L-E, period, M-L-A, period, O-R-G. This is the website that'll show up. You're going to scroll down here toward the bottom and where you see Practice Interactive Template. You're going to click on it, and you'll come to this page right here. And then you have a handout linked in your weekly assignment page that looks like this. So now I'm going to show you how to do a split screen. So because I want to see those side by side as I fill things in. So what I do is I drag this over to the half of the page, about half of my page. And then I'm going to grab the works cited template and I drag it over here to this side. I can drag this over here. And I have these two side by side. And then the hard thing here is you should probably print this out, because what you want to do is you're going to be able to access your articles that you're citing. So I'm familiar with this, but I'm going to show you how to use it. So here, when you're filling something in the author box right here, you're going to look over here. If it's one author, in other words, your source only has one author on it, you're going to type in the author's last name, a comma, the author's first name, and then a period. And you're going to see here I did it on both sides. So this document right here shows you that after you finish filling in this box right here, you add a period. After you finish filling in this box, you add a period. After you fill out this box, you add a comma. So they're telling you which punctuation to put when you enter something into the box. Not all boxes will get filled in. It depends on your source. So author, if you don't have a named author, then you'll skip this box. But if the author is one author, then it's last name, comma, first name. If it's two authors, then it's last name, comma, first name, comma, the word and then the second author's first name, last name. And then, of course, it ends in a period here. If there are three or more authors printed on the source, then you just take the first author listed and you type in the last name, comma, the first name, comma, and then you put et al., which means and others. So this tells you what goes in each box. If it's the title of the source, if it's a major work, like it's a book title, then you'll put it in italics. If it's an article title, which a lot of yours will be, an article title from a website, then that title will go in quotation marks and so forth. So let's take a look at an example. So here's the article. Let's see if I can scooch that over just a little bit. Here's the article that I'm going to cite for this particular one. Scooch that over just a little bit. And if I scroll down, here, I see that her name is Shirley Dannon. So that's what I'm going to put in the box. And of course, then my side said here that I type in the last name first, a comma. Oops, I don't want to get that auto-corrected. And then I put a final period. So that's my author. I come back up here and I see my source. And I got this article on a web page. So here I put it in quotation marks. Promote liver detoxification. And then this source tells me to put a period at the end of it. So a period and the quotation marks. So the period goes inside the quotation marks. Notice that I did not capitalize in all caps the word liver, even though they did on the source title. We're still applying MLA guidelines here, which is always capitalize the first word, always capitalize the last word, capitalize all the important words in between. So this is for artistic reasons. This is for academic reasons. The next step here is they want the title of the container. And container is sort of an odd word, but it makes sense if you think about it. So what they're saying is, this is the title of my source. Where was this source contained? In other words, where did I find it? So if I see here at the bottom of this page right here, it says Life Extension. And so that's the name of the magazine that this article right here was published in. So down here for title of container, I put Life Extension. Again, I'm not using all caps. It requires the use of a comma at the end. And because this article was published in this magazine, titles of magazines go in italics. So I'll highlight it and click italics. Very rarely do you have other contributors. If you have a version and a number, usually you'll find that at the top of the page. Sometimes I want to look, let's see. A little bit on the corners. I want to make sure I can see my full article. And if we looked at, hang on, sorry. Minimize this a second. If we look at version, we're now on version and number. Version R is if it was a revised edition, unabridged. I don't have any of that published on mine. A lot of magazines use the number, and what they mean by that is the volume and number. Sometimes the number is listed as issue, so issue and number mean the same thing, and that's printed down here. So I'm trying to look on my source here to see, I'm looking in the upper right hand corners up here, and I'm looking in the bottom corners, and I don't see anything that says VOL or NO or issue. Those are the three words I'd be looking for. I don't see any of that, so I can skip the number box. The next thing it wants is the publisher. So if I scooch down here, it's typically on the very last page. I'm looking for like a copyright symbol or the word copyright. So it says copyright of Life Extension, which was the name of our magazine, which we put up here, number 3, is property of Life Extension Foundation. So there's my publisher. So I'll come back over here and put Life Extension Foundation, comma. I'm looking for a publication date. Again, I know it's a comma here because it's a comma up here. And now I'm looking for a publication date, and all I have is January 2019. So when you look at the date here, the publication date, it wants it as the day, then the month, and the year. I just have the month and the year, so that's all I can put in the box. But I still want to follow this format. So notice that mine is January 2019. Over here, I see that we abbreviate all the months except for May, June, and July. So abbreviation means it's Jan, Jan period, FEB period, MAR period, and so forth. And so I'm going to take over here, and I'll put Jan 2019, and then a comma. Location is often confused, but if you look here in the location box, it's either asking for the page numbers or the URL. And the URL is this up here is the URL. So I have both of them for these. So if I look at here, I have page numbers that start with, this is 77. So that means this is 76. So it's page 76 through 82, 76 through 82. So I'm going to put PP 76 through 82. I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to grab the URL. So I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back and grab the URL because I saved this as a PDF. So then I would copy and paste the URL here. So I'm just going to type. So I'm just going to put here type URL because I don't want to have to stop and go back and get that. What you're going to see here now, if I drag this back over full screen, is that it's created my citation right here. So then I can grab the citation here. I highlight it. I do copy control. I'm going to go to my Google Docs. Here, and then I'm going to do Control V to paste it in here. When I'm doing that, then unfortunately I don't know why they do this, but they leave it highlighted, which is irritating, but we have to deal with that. So we're going to highlight this here. We're going to change it to the 12-point font that we want to use, Times New Roman, and then we're going to take it and get rid of the highlighting. So I just clicked here and said none. We don't want highlighting. So now we've got our citation. The next step is to add a hanging indent. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. MLA needs hanging indents so that you can see if everything's in alphabetical order and it's easier to see the list. So here you're going to highlight this. Oops. you have two, let me see if I can Command plus, I'm going to enlarge this real quick just so you can see the arrows. I highlight my entry. I'm going to grab the bottom triangle, drag it to the half-inch mark, which is 0.50. I let go. Now I just want to grab the rectangle at the top. I don't know if you can see that there's a white space between those two. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to drag it back to all zeros here. This white space right here is called the hanging indent. That hanging indent, it exists. Let me go back. That hanging indent exists because your works cited page is going to look like this. So the hanging indent is here, this white space is here, so that the readers can very quickly see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sources, and that they're in alphabetical order. The reason this one is here is because MLA ignores the words a, an, and the when it's putting in alphabetical order. I don't care much for that, but it's the rule. So again, we've got alphabetical order, and we can see it's alphabetical order very quickly, and how many sources you have because you have this white space right here. Again, that's called the hanging indent. Not every source has the hanging indent, so if it fits all on one line, you don't need a hanging indent. Anything that has 2 or more lines has to have the hanging indent. So that's the trick. You may not get them right every single time, but that's my opportunity to guide you. So do the best you can. Again, you want to use this page as a guide on how to fill in this page. You will see the citation printed up here for you, which you can copy and paste into your Google Doc. Just remember to change the formatting by getting rid of the highlighting, changing the font size, and the font name. So that's what you're going to do for each source, and that's going to be at the top of your entry. All right, and then now you're going to watch a video on writing the summary for each of your sources.